Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to another EVE Online video. Today's video is going to be a discussion video on the changes coming to PI with the next expansion Into the Abyss. So I am mostly excited for the Abyssal Dungeons, but there are some other changes coming as well. And while PI is not getting overhauled like dramatically, there are some nice changes coming and we have devblog on that. So actually the first devblog for Into the Abyss is about these changes. There's also faction warfare changes, which I don't really do too much, but might be interesting as well. Let's go over to the articles website. So there you can then find the dev blogs as the second category, and then we can go to changes coming to Planetary Interaction with Into the Abyss. Now, this is a system that has been around since 2010, so 8 years without any real iteration on it. That's quite a long time for me. That's a little bit after I started playing, and that's 8 years of practically daily PI that I've been doing in EVE Online. It's mostly been a 24-hour, well, a 23.5-hour cycle, and once every 24 hours I run my extractors. After that, probably bi-weekly, sometimes once a month, I empty out my planets and I sell all my proceeds. That's in HiSec. In Wormhole Space, in Nullsec, you can do a lot more production much more quickly and you can get a lot more profit out of it. But to each his own. For me, it's definitely the lower effort, very passive income that we're getting from EVE Online, from all of that PI. So first of all, there's changes that we can try to find in these two pictures. So the above one is how it is at the moment on TQ, and I suspect that this is how they're planning to do the changes, or if maybe this is implemented on CC, not exactly sure. Some of the things that immediately are noticeable are of course the red icons here when a production facility, for instance, is not properly routed, doesn't have everything it needs to run its schematic. A lot more clear on the visual front here that there's something wrong, there's still something that you need to do. So that's quite nice. Obviously, something else that you notice as well is that you can see your modules and everything from your ship. Can be interesting just in case you miss that you're being attacked. Seeing your shields go down might be your first sign that there's something wrong while you're doing your PI. Something that I like here as well are the little brackets that we can see here on the extraction volumes, although in my experience I don't really pay too much attention to that. You just basically know what materials will be abundant on a planet, because especially in HiSec it is quite noticeable when there's a big difference between the two. But it might just help make things a little bit more clear, and might even help you decide on the number of extraction heads or extractor heads that you want, depending on the material that you're grabbing. So those are the ones that I notice most myself. Here's a full list. You can check it out for yourself in the dev blog itself. What's more interesting, I think, are some of the improvements that they're doing, which are nicely animated in the dev blog. So this is pretty cool. You can add storage facilities, presumably also with industry facilities, and then just immediately click through to create your links, and after that route everything manually. So nice little improvement. The real aim for this update for PI is to reduce the number of clicks that are needed to especially set up new planets, so that you don't feel like you're stuck on your current setup, just because it's such a hassle sometimes to have to move some of your planets. So nice little upgrade. This one is nice as well. Normally if you make a mistake, you just have to cancel everything and put up everything from start to finish again. But now there is a special decommission button that you can see at the bottom here, which you can basically use to undo some of the jobs that you've set up for your next submit. So that's quite a nice little feature that is going to help you save a little bit of time when you're making mistakes with your setup itself. Next up, I'm not exactly sure what's so different about this route creation, but what you do notice here is that it's blinking red, so you can clearly see that there is something wrong here and that you need to do something in order to fix this. So you start your extraction cycle, it's still showing red. That is a clear sign that your route isn't ready just yet. And there we go, then it's set. Again here, I think, let's take a quick look at that. In the red, showing you what's not working in your PI setup so that you can create your routes. Now, notice, once it's set up, and if you don't plan to switch around the schematics for the stuff that you're producing on PI, this is really a one-time thing. So I'd say that at this point, 90% of these improvements are mostly made to just a setup of new PI planets right here. But more information, this is something that I really like what I'm seeing. You can press show info on all of the materials that you can extract, and from there you can continue on to your P1s, then eventually your P2s, here tier 2s, and then you can keep going. What is this used in? What I find a little bit unfortunate is that, for instance, on your tier 2 coolants, I would love to see the planets where you can produce your T2 or potentially even your T3 on a single planet. That would be really cool. But it looks like that's only going to be on your T1. They're extractable on for planetary production. And then once you press tier 2, are we staying in the planetary production tab? Yeah, it doesn't show anymore the planets where you can produce water. I would like that little tab to be present in all of them. And then if you eventually come to like a tier 2 or a tier 3 that cannot be produced on a single planet, well, then it shows none of them, and you immediately know, oh, we do actually have something that's a bit trickier to make that actually usually ups the value of that PI good. But I really like this this extra information that you can get from the PI window itself and everything that's added. The more the better here, so that you don't always have to go to a website when you're setting up new planets or deciding on a schematics. Next up, we've got an overhaul of the Colonies window itself. Again, if you're established, if like me, you've been running this for years on a 24-hour cycle and you know pretty much what you're doing, it won't have that much of an impact. But for newer players and for people setting up their colonies for the first time, this can be handy, especially when you can just at a glance see, oh, I'm extracting this good from here. And then, for instance, you could be extracting or storing up a certain goods that are also useful for another planet. It'll give you a much better idea of, okay, I might actually want to move my water from this planet, gas planet, to this planet, because over here I've got extra ionic solutions for my coolant production. So very nice overview that'll immediately allow you to maybe balance out the productions of your different planets a bit more easily. That's a big advantage that I can see from this type of information. So that could be a nice little improvement for myself, because I, for instance, run 2 gas planets for coolants, 2 planets for mechanical parts, and then 2 planets on storm planets that create electrolytes. And so all of them have materials that they extract and tier 1s that they produce that are often interchangeable. Water is used in 4 of those planets. I think the metals are only used on the barrens, but yeah, with the coolant planets and the electrolyte planets, there is definitely stuff that I can do there in order to get more production and get less overflow from my own extractions. And I think that this will help quite a lot with that. And then, yeah, should reduce the clicks. So here, if you are counting a single planet with a command center launchpad, extractors with 10 heads, 12 processors, and links and routes for all the processors, this should go down to roughly 185 clicks from 300 clicks. So I would say that this is very positive, that we are finally getting a little bit of iteration on PI itself. I still use this on a daily basis. It's one of the most passive income sources that you can have in EVE Online. Increasing the availability, well, it'll probably put more more competition in the PI market, but just to get people going, I think that lowering the barrier of entry, feeling like you don't need to do 300 clicks, know everything on another website in order to just decide on how am I gonna get started with PI, it might just help a little bit with that, and I'm all for it. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.